My name is Fraser.
My name is Mark.
And we are the hosts of the geekiest show alive. To the outside world, we're ordinary geeks.
But in the Fab International Studios, we talk comics and find other geeks just like us. This is Geek of the Week.
It's trade-off. Where did we decide we were getting our comics from? Because it wasn't the loft.
Probably the bookcase. I keep mine on a bookcase.
Keep mine here, there, and everywhere. I'll be walking around the house and go, oh, there's where that trade is. Okay, here we go. Oh, I was reading that. Why is there a bookmark there? There's a bookmark in my pasta. But yeah.
What?
So this is Trade Off. This is the section of the show where we get a trade paperback, and just to describe it a bit better than that, because that was awful, Mark and I have very different tastes when it comes to comic books.
We do.
I'm very child-centered, childlike, innocent. Family-friendly is a very polite word to say. Marvel, DC, Archie, IDW, all those sort of like happy-go-lucky stuff. Mark's more into his like sci-fi, horror. Now a sort of like Venn diagram meets sort of with the sci-fi, but as soon as that sci-fi creeps closer and closer to the horror, that's where I get more and more afraid. The closest I've come to like stepping into horror, away from Trade-Off, is like Archie horror. But with Trade-Off, Mark's been giving me more and more horror. So yeah. The way Trade-Off works is, each week we give each other a trade. Typically it's something the other person wouldn't read, or it's something that the person was thinking about reading. Yeah. But then we finally got them to go and read it, and that's the case for this week. So Mark gave me a book, and do you want to do the intro of what the book was?
I gave you Ringside, and we're both wrestling fans, and this is a comic book about wrestling.
Yeah.
When I bought this, I just spotted it on a certain online store.
You can say it if you want.
Tut, Amazon, naughty boy.
Amazon. Oh no, it's fine. We've got an Amazon affiliated link. Yeah. So if you want to spot this book as well, go click on our Amazon.
Yeah, click on that. But no, I spotted it on Amazon just because it appeared, because of my history on as a suggestion, and I was like, a wrestling comic book? Oh my goodness!
A mix of the two. Well, it's like I said before, it's been one of them. Like I think you told me about this or something, and I was like, wow, yeah, I kind of want to get this. And it's funny because I think at the time, now we always say we trade off that, like we lend each other books, and we do. We do most of the time, but I think yours was out at the moment, and then I was like, dude,
I'd lent it to someone else.
And I was like, dude, I want to own this book anyway, so I'll buy it. So like, I'm still counting it as a trade-off, and it's nice. You mentioned that we're both wrestling fans. Wrestling's actually how me and Mark met. Like Mark and I met. See, I didn't make corrected. So this is sort of like an origin. This is sort of like our origin story, and I feel like we will. Don't worry, guys. We're going to delve more into the book, but just sort of want to say like, because it is a meaningful book. Like
it is.
Mark and I met through wrestling training. Like we're both training to be wrestlers. Obviously, Mark's mentioned in the past that he's a commentator. So you were commentating at the time, weren't you? Training, and then you sort of. Then you came into Future Shock Training, didn't you?
That's
based in Manchester. It's now split off into two different things, and you met a young, impressionable Fraser who's not really changed much. Maybe got a bit taller.
Yeah, I think. Let me think. It's like 6 years that we've known each other.
Yeah, it's been a while, hasn't it?
It's been a while.
There's been road trip journeys, and then
just nerded out massively.
It is,
got on pretty much from day one.
It's incredible as well, because it's one of them. Like the first thing we got on with was, I feel like, that whole like wrestling and stuff like that, and then we sort of had that whole thing where we sort of have we both sort of have a Peter Pan complex.
Yeah. Mine is looking more and more precarious by the day. And then my 40s creep on.
And then it was one of them. It's like I think we just randomly started talking about comic books one day or something, and then just never stopped. And was like, and then when it was time to bring the radio show back to Manchester, like when I came back from uni, I was like, "Oh, Mark, do you want to do this?" And you were like, "Oh, I might do some guests." And then we did like one show, and you're like, "Yeah, no, dude, I'm like in on this." And it's lovely that wrestling and comics has brought us together, and the fact that this is one book. This is like this is our book, Mark.
Yeah,
this is our. This is a book.
A little bit like that, doesn't it?
Do you know what I mean? And I will say, because we've both been in that world, you a bit more so, because I sort of like dipped in and out with uni. I'm trying to get back into it now. I think this book really hits you hard, because there are some hardships out there. Like, the business is kind of cruel.
It's not easy.
Yeah,
it's not easy to be involved in, and your highs are all
your highs are super high, like incredible.
But the lows are just
so painful.
And I guess working for yourself in any industry can be like that.
Yeah.
But you're working for yourself at the same time as lots and lots and lots of other people are working for themselves in the same role. It is ultra competitive.
And you're all in the same world as well, and I feel like there's no escape, and you've got to work together in that world as well.
Yep.
Like, it's like, if you don't get on with one of your co-workers, it's fine, you know what I mean? You're probably like, oh, we didn't send this important email. It's like, that's all right. But if you don't get on with your co-worker, yeah, he dropped me on my head and now I'm paralysed. I think he may have done it on, like, you know, there's
that
a bit...
That doesn't happen, by the way.
It doesn't happen, but do you know what I mean? There's like a sort of, or like he stiffed me a bit and now like I'm a bit sore and I have to go into work or whatever. But yeah, and the fact that this book says this is incredible, but I do like the main character. But what I do like is they didn't just focus on, because I thought this book was going to be very much like the rest of the film.
Yeah, it does start a little bit.
It starts with that, but then they've got a story within it as well about the sort of the crime and stuff, and how he's like, you've never done anything real, and now he's in real fights, and there's real issues coming out of that. I really dig that, and it's important to note that this is we're in February. This is part of our LGBT month. And we've got some gay representation there, which I thought was good as well. And the way they it wasn't one of them where they made a big thing about it. Like, one of the characters was a bit shy about it, said partner, and he was just like, dude, just say it. And he was like, oh, it's my boyfriend. And it was like, that was it then. You know what I mean? It wasn't a big...
As a wrestling fan who's gay, that really was something that was pretty special to me, and I didn't know that there was a gay storyline in this book when I bought it. Like I say, I just bought it because it was a wrestling comic book. And there really aren't that many of us.
No, it isn't.
And I just... My concern about this book is, who's it for? Will it put off a lot of wrestling fans because there's a gay storyline in it?
I would hope not.
Will it put off a lot of gay people because they're not particularly interested in wrestling? Who's it for? It's continued to run. It's in like its third trade now.
Definitely for us too, I think.
Well, yeah, you know what I mean?
But no, yeah, I'll let you carry on with you. I'll let you carry on with your very well made point. Sorry, just to derail you.
Well, you're not gay.
Well, yeah, but
you're technically LGBT, right? But
yeah, I like representation.
Yeah. But it's I'm glad that people are buying it. Yeah, I just wonder who it is, to be honest with you.
You know what, though? I will, like, that same character, though, I resonate with him because he's doing a great job, but he's never getting that star sort of thing, and I feel like that was always me. Like, I was always putting in all this hard work and stuff like that, and I'd go to training all the time, and I'd be like, not the crash test dummy, but I'd always be the student that the teacher would go to and stuff like that, and it's like using me for examples, and like someone who I really appreciated, put a lot of trust in, but then when it came to show times, it was completely different, and it was one of them. I think it's same with this character. It's like, you've not got the star look or whatever, and it's if you looked at me, you wouldn't think, oh yeah, professional wrestler, like, so it's fair. You might think Spider-Man though, because that happens on the weekends, but it is that thing. Yeah,
someone did that.
There you go.
Marvel did a cease and desist. That's actually true.
Spidey did it as well in the films and in the comic books as well. That's a really cool thing from the comics. But anyway, Spider-Man and wrestling. There you go. There you go. I was going to say, is that too much of a tangent? But it's not too bad.
No, it wasn't quite a tornado.
It wasn't quite a tornado. It was gathering up some wind. But yeah, no, I really enjoyed this because, again, it explored the wrestling world, because it wasn't just an American-based one. The lead character was in Japan, like doing a training school there, and they sort of marked it. And each end, even if it was about the crime story, had something about wrestling in it. So it was like, being retired. On like the last page of the trade is then you make a comeback, and it's like that's one of the big things about wrestling is people either making a comeback or it's part of a match when a good guy comes back after being beat up by the bad guy.
Did you think that some of the characters looked suspiciously like real wrestlers?
Real wrestlers. I thought exactly
Michael
that.
Hayes was
yeah. It was exactly like in The Wrestler. I saw that because it's like there's a load of talent relation guys, and I'm like, okay. And it was like, I was shocked we didn't see a blatant Vincent K. McMahon
but Michael Hayes was.
Michael Hayes was a big like, oh, okay. And if you're not into the wrestling world, if you're like, hey, bring it back to comics, Michael Hayes is he's talent relations, and
he's a former tag team champion who now works behind the scenes.
Yeah. There's a lot of wrestlers once they're done, they'll go back into they'll stay in the world of wrestling, but it'll be more like training, stuff like that. And our main character in this does that, but sees that no, not our main character, one of our main characters, not the lead, gets a job as like someone helping out, and he sees that as the end of the world because it's like, oh no, it's the end of the career, been shelved. Which is like, it's interesting, and that's the interesting thing is all three of the quote-unquote main characters I can think of anyway have their own individual stories, and they all come from different sides of wrestling and life, really, because one of them is focused on that crime thing. And yeah, I enjoyed that dynamic. And now you've got me thinking, who is this book for?
For me,
definitely for us though.
For me, right, the whole wrestling thing is so well representative. So well represented. It's there's a lot of the characters resonate, and I feel that flawed, desperate, ambitious, real people in a fake world is so well done that I found it a little bit creepy and
too real.
because having been in that industry, we've both seen that,
exactly.
And it was done so well. And I wonder again,
I'm probably been
how
a part
many
of it as
people
well.
have been in the industry rather than been fans, and how many people would truly get that?
I'll be honest.
It's a peculiar book. Who's it for?
I think there's a lot more people like that. I just want to say, I don't know the exact quote, but I've decided that's going to be my new Instagram bio. I think it was like ambitious something.
Flawed, desperate, ambitious, real people in a fake world.
Yeah, that's going to be...
Yeah, I'd written that in there.
That's
I didn't just come up with that on the fly.
I was going to say, that's brilliant, but that might be my new Instagram bio instead of what we said before. Previously on the show. Oh, no, I had a good point then. I'll be honest, I think, again, being in that world, I think there are fans like that. There are fans who have given it a go, especially more now. It feels more like advertised, obviously, because, especially in the UK, because we've got the world of sport, we've got the UK in WWE, WWE.
NXT UK.
Yeah. There's the indies are more prevalent and stuff like that. I feel like there are fans out there like that.
There's a wrestling show on Fab Radio.
Yeah, there's a...
Every Thursday.
Exactly, there you go. Nice little plug for you there, mate. And if you're listening, do you want to do a crossover? Because I think that'd be really good. We could talk about Ringside. WWE actually have their own comic book.
They do.
We could
a lot of it's done by Jerry the King Lawler.
Yeah. And we could even talk about like WWE wrestlers who've gone into superhero stuff. Like, Macho Man Randy Savage was bonesaw in Spider-Man, which was brilliant. And then, obviously, Dave Bautista with Drax. CM Punk wrote comics. So there's connections there.
I'm calling Tangent Tornado, by the way.
But I just want to say, last point, unless you've got anything else to add, I recently just watched this video. It was on YouTube. Who was it? It was like Now Geek or something like that. But this presenter was very excited because he finally got to be able to talk about wrestling. Because they usually talk about like comics and stuff like that and geek culture in general, but it was saying why more geeks should be into comics, because it should be into wrestling, because wrestling has got those characters that you see in comics, like the superheroes, the ones who stand for justice. It's always good versus evil most of the time, the fight scenes and stuff like that. So there is that close connection, and I'm trying to think of the right word. I'm surprised there's not more of it. And I'm surprised there's not more, just to go onto the film sort of more tangent, that there aren't more films based off it, or just more stories based off the the real side, let's say, of wrestling, or the backstage side of wrestling, because obviously you've got your Rocky films and stuff like that, and there's been boxing comic books, but I feel like there is a world to explore behind the scenes of wrestling, and this book does it great, and I'd love to see more do it as well. It might just be, again, this book might just be us two, and it might just be us two wanting to see more of that. But
maybe a little.
But yeah, no, definitely enjoyed it. And if you, fellow geeks, have checked out Ringside, if you're a wrestling fan and a comic book fan and you haven't, definitely recommend it. And if you,
I'd like to give it to a non-wrestling fan. See how they
it would also, yeah, actually, if you're
a non-wrestling fan like The Wrestler, the film.
Yeah, it was really good. That it got some Oscar buzz as well. So it would be cool. Yeah. If you're a non-wrestling fan, or you've like dipped your toes in like in wrestling, but you're super into comic books, maybe it'd be interesting to get your opinion, because like I say, we are deep into that world, so it might be interesting to get another perspective. But we want all the perspectives.
We do.
All of them. So like we always say, we're on Facebook, we've got a nice little discussion group there, always friendly groups of people there giving little opinions and whatnot. We've got Twitter. You know how that works. You know you can at us and all that jazz. We've got, what have we got, Mark? Your favourite. We've got Tumblr. We've got the YouTube comments below. If you want to get a letter and stick a Marvel stamp on it, you can do that. I would very much enjoy a letter with a stamp.
Still not having my address.
But yeah, so that's Trade Off for this week.
So listen to Geek of the Week. Be sure to tune in next week. Same geek time, same geek channel.
And if you want to follow us on social media, it's at GOTW Radio on Twitter. Search for Geek of the Week Radio Show on Facebook. And to listen again, it's www.mixcloud.com/Geek of the Week Radio Show.